Hi everyone, Dr. Luke Peterson here, physical therapist with a knee replacement therapist. In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 different ways to track your knee range of motion progress on your own, at home, or wherever you may be. So the first range of motion device is the one that you probably see in your physical therapy clinic and you see your physical therapist use most often, and this is called a goniometer. It's a device that is easy enough to measure different angles of the knee. So let me show you how to use the goniometer first. So the big middle part here, and there's usually a little hole, that's going to go right in the middle of your knee joint. And then from there, you want to line up the one side of it, the one arm of the goniometer is going to line up with that big bone, your malleolus of your ankle. So it lines up with that big bone on the side of your ankle. And the other one is going to line up with your hip bone. So you'll feel where you have a big firm spot here, which is your hip bone, and you're going to line that up as well. You can do this in any position. Usually if you have some sort of helper who can help kind of hold the device while you try straightening or bending the knee, that's usually quite a bit easier, but you can make it work by yourself with a little creativity. So straightening is pretty simple. Again, line up this middle piece with the middle of the knee, line up the other part with that big bone of your ankle, and then this with the hip, and your goal is trying to get to 0 degrees or perfectly straight on the device. For flexion, you might want to have something that you can lay, you can put your back against so you're not falling all over. Kind of difficult to do this one laying down, but you're going to bend that knee up as high as you can get it. And then again, you're just lining up the one arm with the hip and line up that other arm with the bone on your ankle. Pull out the device, and then you can read the number. So you're actually going to be reading the larger number, so that was about 140 degrees for me. So it takes a second to get used to what you're reading, but this is 0, this is about 90, and then as you get up, you're going up into the hundreds then from there. So that's a goniometer. I'll put a link to this in the ebook. They're relatively cheap to get one online. Let me show you a couple of different options. So another option is using a strap. So this is a little creative, intuitive way to do it, but you can put the strap around your leg, around your foot, and get the strap so it's equal on both ends when you're holding it. And then what I like to do is then you can use the strap or use whatever you're using in place of this strap as kind of your measuring stick. So you're going to bend up, 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 and your goal is basically trying to figure out where does the strap end. So for example, you can say, okay, I got the end of the strap came to just above my chest, or the midline of my chest, or I was able to get it up to my chin, wherever it may be. You can also use, so for example, let's say the first day the strap only got to your stomach, and then you try again a week later and the strap comes up to your chest line. So that shows that you've gotten some more bending, some more flexion over time. You don't have an actual degree amount, but you're able to kind of measure as you go along. Another thing you can do is some people put a little marker. So for example, if you just have one end that you're using and you just put a little marker strap on some part of it, you can say, okay, where did that mark to, when I get up as far as I can, where does the mark end up? Does it end up at my chin? Can I get it all the way up to my ear or higher? And then you can see if you're progressing. So that's another way that's a little creative, just using a strap or whatever you're using in place of a strap. So now let me show you a way to track your progress using a chair and putting your foot up against a wall. So this is a way to use sitting in a chair and a wall to track your progress with your knee range of motion. Again, this doesn't give a specific range of motion in terms of degrees, but it gives you an idea if you're progressing or if you're plateauing and staying at the same spot, or hopefully not, but you're getting less range of motion. So what you want to do is you want to take the leg, the surgical leg, and you're going to put your toe up against the wall. And then basically your measurement point is going to be the distance from your knee. So you can use the end of your knee, you can use the middle of your knee, but the distance from your knee to the wall. And so if you have a tape measure or anything similar, a yardstick, and you can just basically get yourself a rough estimate, a measurement of how far you are from that wall. Now, a couple ways to get your knee closer to that wall, and each of these ways is going to incorporate some amount of flexion or bending. So, for example, scooting forward in the chair, you'll notice you'll start to bend that knee more and more. So notice my knee gets closer to the wall, and also my knee starting to bend more. You can start with the chair closer to the wall as well and go from there. Again, just as long as that foot stays against the wall, you're going to get a similar amount of bend at that knee until eventually, hopefully, you can get to the point where you're able to touch the wall with your knee. Now, if you get to that point where you can touch the wall with your knee with the foot against the wall, what you can also do is if you put, you pick a spot where you're going to put your toe. So maybe it's 6 inches out or 5 inches out from the wall. And now as you start to get that greater and greater flexion or bending range of motion, then you can go even further in measuring that distance from the wall, hopefully until you get to the point where you're touching the wall. But the idea is if you started this far from the wall and you're able to get yourself up in a week or whenever, and now you're this far from the wall, that's a sign that you've made progress. If you're this far from the wall, that's a sign that maybe you've plateaued or haven't made any progress since the last time you checked it. So that's another intuitive, kind of creative way to check your progress with your knee bending range of motion. So the last way I want to share with you for measuring your knee range of motion and knee bending and straightening progress is at home is using your phone. And in particular, there's a number of different apps that are out there that help you to track your range of motion, your bending, your straightening. It shows you knee goes here. And so when you put the phone on your thigh, you want your knee at where it says the side it wants the knee. And then once you have it on that thigh, you just hit the big button and it snaps and takes a measurement. And then you do the same exact thing on your thigh. So you want to bend it as far as you can go. And then once you get to that position, you hit snap again. And it takes a picture and it measures your flexion or extension range of motion. So in this case, I got 117 degrees, which isn't too bad considering I wasn't trying to get as much as I could. So what it's doing is using the inclination, the angles. So it's taking the angle of your thigh, comparing that to the angle of your leg. So you want to be in the same position when you're taking both measurements. So you can't switch your thigh up here and then take the measurement here. You have to be either seated or laying down in the same position for both measurements. So you take one snap, get the angle of your thigh, and then you take another snap, and you get the angle of your shin, and then that gives you your actual range of motion or your flexion of your knee. And then the same thing if you're trying to get extension. So obviously, if you're doing it completely straight, the goal is you would get 0. If you do get a flexion amount when you are measuring your straightening or extension, that means you're off. So this one example, my flexion was 5 degrees, which means I was 5 degrees off of 0 or completely straight, which would be the goal for straightening or extension. So that's just one app. There's plenty of ones out there, but this one is free, really straightforward and simple to use. Again, it's Ortho Physical Lite, just one of the couple different options of ways to measure your knee, range of motion, and progress at home by yourself or with the help of a family member or friend. Thank you very much for watching.